Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I started a conversation over on Instagram where I want to know, how often are you all deciding to update your resume? Even if you're not looking for a job, you should be updating your resume, or at bare minimum, keeping up with your list of accomplishments, your project work, issues you've resolved in the office or with your work, things like that. But when it comes to the actual resume, how often are you updating it? Because some people will just update theirs once every few months. Maybe there's some people who do every month, once a year, or what is likely the common answer when you're looking for a job. That could be the only answer. I'm not saying that there is a right answer, but I will just tell you what my thoughts are on it. I may not be looking for a job, right? And I may be feeling stable in my job. And by I mean the general I, like I mean you all too, right? We're working, we're going through our daily routines, getting stuff done. Sometimes stuff happens and people get let go. People get cut. There are layoffs. They happen all the time in different industries, right? So it's a matter of what happens to you if you were to lose your job. Are you going to have to scramble and figure out what you did and what to put on your resume? Are you just going to copy and paste your list of job duties on your resume? Because if you do that, you're going to make me angry. But the key is not to say you got to update your resume every week, because like in real life, like every week that doesn't need to happen. But you best believe that you should be keeping track of what it is you've worked on. And when it comes to what it is you worked on and what the impact was and what the outcome of what you've worked on has been, you have to think bigger. Remember the details, right? So let's say you're an administrative assistant. Some people are like, well, I'm just an administrative assistant. It doesn't matter what you are and what your position level is. If you plan to make more money than you do today, you better be able to communicate on paper and in person what it is that you do in your current role beyond, I shuffle papers at my desk and I'm an administrative assistant. You have to be able to communicate that in a way that showcases higher level of contribution in the workplace. Like, why does someone want to hire you versus the next administrative assistant? So for instance, let's say you implement some sort of process that reorganizes your files. And over the course of auditing and reorganizing your files, you uncover things that maybe should have been deleted 5 years ago. And if you don't delete these things, you violate some sort of federal mandate or state mandate or city mandate saying you have to purge these particular types of records every 5 years. Okay. So let's say hypothetically that that's what you're doing. What I'd like for you to do is think about that on the next level. Like, don't just say, I audited files and deleted things that were outdated. That means nothing. That means nothing to anyone. I want you to think about it from the aspect of, why does an organization care about this? So you might instead want to say something like, I'm just going to make this up. You might say something like, saved the company $20,000 in potential federal fines by auditing and purging documents in support of risk management processes. That may sound a little crazy because, like I said, I just made it up. But do you see what I'm doing there? You have to take what it is that you do and flip it and communicate about it in a way that makes people care. And when I say people, I don't mean your cousins and them. I mean a hiring manager, a recruiter, another organization that is looking for someone with your type of experience. Because what I've noticed from looking at your resumes is the problem isn't that you don't have experience. The problem is that you don't communicate your experience and articulate your experience in a way that makes someone care, or make someone want to pay you more than you're making today. Those are the things that take you over the bridge of making 50K to 80K, 50K to 75K. And I'm saying that because that was me, right? Like, there were several years in a row where I was offered 50K. I worked 3 different jobs in a row over the course of 3 years. And all 3 jobs wanted to pay me 50K. So what did I do? I bounced because I'm like, this can't be it. Like, I have to get over this 50K hurdle. And it actually was probably more over the course of 4 years, because one of those jobs, they said, oh, well, we're not going to increase your salary right now, but what we will do is give you a $5,000 bonus to stay. Yeah, that sounds fine and dandy, but that $5,000 got eaten up in parking costs because that company had to pay to park in the parking deck, which they take out your paycheck. All these things are stupid. I could go into some stories about how these companies will screw you over if you let them, okay? And they didn't guarantee the extra 5K moving forward. It was just a one-time bonus to keep me on board so I can keep doing the dance and doing what I was supposed to do while not earning what I was supposed to earn. And at some point I was like, okay, something's got to give. Like, I could always write a decent resume back then. Now, that was years ago at this point. I could always write a decent resume, but sometimes I would be in my own head saying, okay, well, this isn't that important. And then when I talk about what I do, I wouldn't communicate as clearly as I should have about why this matters and why you should pay me more. I was just like, okay, I'm grateful to have a job. All right, when I got to 50K, I was happy because there was a point where I was trying to get to 50K and I couldn't get there. Of course, at this point, I've well surpassed that, which is fantastic, but I didn't get there by just copying and pasting my job duties, right? I started to keep up with what I really did and communicate those things clearly so that someone else would care and pay me more. And when I did get paid more, I finally made 60K. I was still very much underpaid. And I was like, I'm not dealing with this again. Not dealing with this again. I am going to not come from a place of desperation and just trying to find another job to make more so that I can keep spinning in this circle like a hamster. I need to make it a significant amount more, and I need a much better title, and I need to start bridging this gap that I was already experiencing because I came from a place that was underpaying employees in every aspect. Like, if you weren't an executive, you weren't making anything. It was a very large organization with a great, well-known name, but they pay you pennies, okay? And I was there, I want to say almost 4 years, making pennies, okay? So I started really paying attention to how the people who got paid were talking about themselves, right? And I would listen to these people in meetings and I'm like, I have more experience than them. Why are they making more than I am? You know, you'll hear people give lots of reasons. It could be your race, ethnicity, the fact that I'm a woman. Maybe a little bit of all of that played into it, right? But, or maybe, we're not even going to say maybe, it played into it. But the biggest thing was the way people talked about what it is that they do and what it is that they bring to the table or brought to the table. That's what makes the difference. When you're in a room with people who make decisions about how much your time is worth to that organization, they're looking to see how you speak about yourself, and then they're going to look at that paper. Okay, all right, she did this. Oh, you've got to start thinking about that. But you've got to start tracking it first. I can't tell you how many people I have worked with on their resumes, and I'll look at a bullet and it's like, it'll say something like worked on special projects with leadership. That's an actual bullet I've read before on someone's resume. And my comment is always going to be, what does this mean? What is this? What special projects? And they either give me one of two answers. They either say, oh, I'd have to think back. I don't really remember the projects I worked on. I say, okay, that's a problem. Send this resume back to me when you remember. Or they'll say very specific projects that they worked on. And I'm like, why aren't we talking about this on your resume? Why are you hiding and dumbing down what you've done? We need to dig into this. And then I can start asking questions and pulling out those details and crafting these wonderful bullets and accomplishments, calling those things out that people want to pay you for. So no matter what your position is, you need to start keeping track of what it is that you do and thinking from the perspective of why would somebody else pay me to do this? Like, I have this job being paid to do it now, but maybe they're underpaying you. And you know you're being underpaid because you go and you look at these job postings and those people are getting paid more than you. And you're like, well, why? The why is because you don't seem to value what it is that you do. So why would they pay you your worth? You get what I'm saying? Is that taking advantage of you? Maybe. But if you don't ask for more and you don't seem like you want more, why would they give you more? So think about that and start making that list of what it is that you've accomplished over the course of the past year, past quarter, whatever it is. And then put a tickler on your calendar to remind yourself to do that once a month, once a quarter, maybe twice a year, whatever it needs to be. I suggest at least once a quarter because a lot of workplace projects are based on quarters and companies tend to provide metrics each quarter, especially if you have things like stock options and stuff like that. Those town hall meetings, if you don't attend them, you need to start. You know why? Because they give company metrics. So you have to think about things that they talk about in the organization. Those are the company goals, the company outcomes. Think from the perspective of what did you do during the course of that quarter, that month, that year that impacts those outcomes and those metrics. Think about it like that because it really, really matters. And that's where people are messing up and leaving money on the table because they're not looking at those things. They're just thinking, well, I just do this. I just, it's always a I just. If you don't want to just keep making what you're making, you're going to have to start thinking bigger. You want a big paycheck? You got to think bigger. You've got to think from the point of strategy and outcomes, very specific outcomes, specific actions that you have taken, things that you've contributed to, whether it was as an individual contributor or as part of a team or as a manager or as a supervisor, whatever it was, whatever it is that you do, think about it and think big, okay? And most importantly, document it. And don't document it just on your work laptop because if you get terminated, guess what? That list is gone. Get your personal laptop out or keep it in a notebook. Put it in your phone. Whenever you have a win, put it in there. So that way, when you go to update your resume, you can reference this very specific list and you don't have to experience the brain fart that people experience when they lose their jobs. People lose their jobs all the time and you have to be ready for that. That's number one, is stay ready. So if you have questions about how you can better communicate what it is that you bring to the table and how to articulate what it is that you've done in your past and you need someone to ask you those questions, listen, you know me, right? That's what I do. I'm a 10-year HR professional and I've been writing resumes for years. You can send me your resume. And if you want to send me your resume, the link is in the description bar for you to do so. It is a very short form. You attach your resume and you send it to me. And I will send you that immediate feedback. I will ask you those questions. I will tell you how to improve upon how your bullets are written. I'll tell you what to write, okay? So check that out in the description bar. I do also still have a sale running on my 1-hour resume training. The rejection code is active right now. The code is rejection. Just write that word in the discount bar and you will get the course for $9.99. It's regularly $47 right now. $9.99 is the sale if you use the code rejection. The reason why that's the code is because a lot of people, especially if you're looking for a position right now, I work with a lot of people who just get rejection emails back to back to back and they're getting no traction in their search. I hate that for you, okay? If you want to stop getting those rejection emails right after you apply, you've got to take my training. That training only takes an hour. I believe there are 7 modules. No module is more than like 15 minutes at a time. Yes, I made this course, so I'm going to say it's a really good course, but you should try it out. It's $9.99. Use the code rejection. What do you have to lose? And here's the thing. I sell my templates, my resume templates, my cover letter templates. If you get the course, The templates come with the course. Otherwise, you can go pay more than that for just the templates. I want you to stop getting rejected, okay? So use the course code rejection to take my 1-hour training. Or if you'd rather just kind of get the feedback so you can type out exactly what I'm saying, go ahead and send me your resume. Go to the description bar and submit your resume for a full assessment and feedback using the link in the description bar, okay? So I really hope this was helpful to you and you start tracking what you've done today, because your position is not guaranteed to you tomorrow. As always, if you have questions or comments, go down to the comments below. I will also pin the link for you in the comments because sometimes people have issues getting to the description bar if you're on mobile. All right. So I hope this was helpful. I will see you in the next video. Bye.